Today's show is sponsored by the ABV Barrel Shop. The ABV Barrel Shop is located in the St. Louis metro community of Arnold, Missouri. The ABV Barrel Shop is focused on one thing, single barrels. Best of all, you can try before you buy. Head over to abvbarrelshop.com to sign up for their email and text distribution so you know what they have in stock, what classes are coming up, and who from the industry may be coming in to visit. The ABV Barrel Shop. It's where single barrels live. We are also sponsored by the Bar to Go. The Bar to Go offers traveling minibars that are no bigger than a small purse or toiletry bag. Best of all, they are fully customizable so you can create the perfect piece that is unique for you. If you own your own business, what a fun and unique way to promote what you do. Check them out online at thebar2go.com. That is the number 2 in the Bar to Go. If you have wholesale questions, call my friend Isabel Clark at 504-481-1297. Finally, we are sponsored by the Neely Family Distillery. NFD is a family-owned business that keeps ringing up awards in the spirits world. Head to Sparta, Kentucky to experience the family history, award-winning spirits, and meet the Neely family. Check them out online at neelyfamilydistillery.com. Now, on to the show.
Let's drink!
Welcome to the Bourbon Daily, the podcast about everything bourbon delivered to you every day of the week. Today on the show, we tap the brakes on California's flex as the hub of bourbon.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. My name is Kathy Cool. Please join me in welcoming my co-host Steve Akeley, along with my special guests Tim Swiat and Vaughn Nieters.
Hey gang, what's up?
Hello.
Yeah. Yes, so this is interesting. California, I guess, came out. There was a list that came out. California didn't put the list together, but the list was the states with the most number of distilleries, and the writer of the story then positions it as California is the number 1 bourbon producer in the world. Really, I mean, this is an incredible flex that. Again, number of distilleries does not equate to bourbon distilleries. People making whiskey or anything like that. And that's totally forgotten in the article. So, but we'll talk about that after the break. For right now, Von Nieters said there's something he wanted to talk about. What is that, sir?
Is there any movies that have been remade that you think are better than the original?
Ooh, remakes that are better.
Or at least you think that they're just as good as the original. Like you can appreciate it.
Yeah. I think the remake of It by Stephen King was way better. It's 2 movies long, but it was so good. I'm a big Stephen King fan. I think they did that. The first one was with Tim Curry as the clown, Pennywise. Yep. And this one was just really, really good.
Okay. That seems to be a good answer from what I've heard. I've never seen either of those, but from what I've heard, it sounds accurate. So, and I can't think of any that I think that the sequel, not the sequel, it's different than a remake. I can't think of anywhere the remake I think is better than the original, but maybe I can be convinced that I want to do it. I want to hear about it in one that I've seen them both. I have heard that what Kathy's saying. I think that's correct, but I haven't seen either of those.
So what are some remakes that are out there that we could?
There's,
Charlie and the Chocolate.
Not better than the original.
Charlie's 80 Seconds. No.
Jumanji. There's 2 new ones of those.
Oh, no.
You replace Robin Williams with The Rock. Sorry.
No, it's not.
I think it's just as good because I like Jack Black.
Sure. Just as good as not better. So that does not
better.
Not take it. It does not take it.
Dune?
No, Dune sucks.
Yeah, it just sucks. All versions suck.
Yes. Dune is just a remake of Star Wars. That's all it is.
Yeah. The poor man's Star Wars. Tim, does any stand out to you as he's looking through the list, see if we can find one?
I'm still sticking with Ocean's 11.
Ocean's 11. Okay.
I've never seen the original though.
Yeah, the original was the old one. It was the old Rat Pack and everything, but it's kind of the remake I thought was kind of cool. it got kind of crazy after Ocean's 12, Ocean's 13, stuff like that. Where it got kind of crazier, but I thought the that one's pretty good, and I go with Scarface too. Like I vaguely remember the original 1932.
Okay.
Scarface my dad used to watch in the background around Thanksgiving. Then we started watching the new one. And
okay. That would be one I saw. I've never seen the original one, but it seems hokey to me. I've seen clips of it and stuff like that. Yeah. And I thought Scarface, the movie with Al Pacino, was a great one. So yeah, that'd be a rare example. But that's more aggressive. Yeah, it's more aggressive, and it also goes 80s, far back. Yeah, it goes far back enough. Well, and maybe that time, who knows? That's that weird thing. As we get old, we don't realize. When was the first Scarface made, in the 30s or whatever? And then you get something that was made in 1970. That's 40 years away. Well, now we're looking only going 40 years back. It's 1980ish, so it's the same thing, really. But it seems to us like. To me, a remake of an old movie is something from the 30s or 40s, but in reality, that could be the 80s, as old as the difference in the Scarfaces. So, yeah.
I really liked A Star Is Born, the Bradley Cooper, Lady Gaga one.
Okay.
But that was like a third remake, so.
Right.
I didn't see the original, but I saw the one with the
Okay.
Barbara
Von Nieters, you asked the question. Did you have one in mind right away? That
I didn't really. I was just kind of tossing it out there. So there were some popular ones that crossed my mind that didn't really. I don't think.
So you were looking at the list.
I do.
Yeah.
I do think I found one that meets the best criteria besides saying it, like Kathy. I think Mad Max. I think that was a good one.
Better than the original?
I don't know if better, but
I don't know about that. Yeah.
What about the original Batman movie versus the remake with Michael Keaton when Batman was redone? And Joker, the first remake.
I know those are weird, right? Because they are, but they don't think they're the same, even though it's kind of the same. It's weird. They take different perspectives in the story. I don't know.
It's hard to think of them as remakes instead of just re-envisioned.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
There's so many out there now.
Right. Yeah.
Who hasn't been Batman?
I do think that the best out of the entire series is the Heath Ledger one. I do think that that's a great.
Yeah, I think so.
So yeah,
he was just otherworldly in that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that Joker was spectacular.
Yes,
enough that it killed him. So
right.
But even if you go back to the interviews with Jack Nicholson, him trying to get into that character too as well, he had to go to some pretty dark places, and he was already in some dark places as well as an actor with some of the roles he's had prior to that. But you start reading some of that stuff and how they were talking about that character to really bring that paranoid, schizophrenic, sociopathic personality out. It's crazy what they had to do to be able to capture some of that stuff.
Yeah. On that note, guess what, gang? It's time to drink. What is everyone drinking? I'll go first. I've got from Washington Distilling Company. I got their bourbon that's finished in the Madagascar vanilla barrel. So it's a popular one we had at the shop. Let's see here. Not much there. We'll have Swaggo next. Gives me a chance to hold on dearly for a little bit here.
I really pulled out some good bottles here. I've got a bottle of limited edition 2023 Yellowstone.
Okay.
This one's finished in Tokai casks. Swine on the set.
Nothing. Yeah.
I'm getting robbed.
No, you're not.
He accused me of turning the sound off for his. Like that's what I'm doing. Just so yeah, he blames me.
That's too much work.
Against me. This is just the whole thing. It's a running joke.
Yeah. All right. Let's have Von Nieters go next.
I have, since we're talking about California, 100% straight rye whiskey, single barrel, 132 proof.
Oh, that was solid. Squeaky.
Very loud.
And high pitched. Who is what is the whiskey? It's from California.
Oh, Old Potrero.
Oh, okay. All right, that's some good stuff. All right, last but not least,
Darren say that name.
Potrero.
Potrero.
He loves the Potrero.
Take a day off after he tries saying that because he's just so flustered.
Right.
Naranja
is an interesting one too, so he can't say that. Yeah, and now he just does this exaggerated version of because he can't say it, so now he acts like he's goofing on it. So he's like Naranda da. So he's doing a bit because he can't say Naranja. So, all right. KK, you're last but not least. What do you got?
I'm going to open up my MB Roland bourbon that was selected by Jackie.
Okay. Okay. Decent, but not enough. Von Nieters wins, so cheers, gang.
Cheers to Von Nieters.
All right, we'll take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to talk about this article that really painted a picture of California being the place to go for bourbon. We'll do that in just a few. Okay, let's talk about the people that make these shows happen. First up is the Stave and Thief Society. Via their in-person class at Moonshine University in Louisville, Kentucky, the Stave and Thief Society is the place where you, a bourbon enthusiast, can expand your knowledge and emerge an executive bourbon steward. In 2017, I completed my executive bourbon steward certification. It's the most comprehensive bourbon certification available and connects you with an expansive network of bourbon enthusiasts and professionals. Check out the full listing of in-person and online certifications and join the society today by enrolling at staveandthief.com. Speaking of executive bourbon steward certification, the ABV Barrel Shop in St. Louis, Missouri has developed a unique partnership with the Stave and Thief Society to offer a preparatory class to assist you in getting your executive bourbon steward certification. This prep class costs only $25 and is available to take live or online via Zoom. Graduates of our class receive a coupon code good for 15% off your executive bourbon steward certification held in Louisville, Kentucky. This saves you almost $90. Additionally, you can collaborate with fellow attendees to split travel costs when you go to Louisville. If you're interested in signing up for the class, simply head over to abvbarrelshop.com and check out the classes and events page. Last but not least, we are sponsored by Neely Family Distillery. Royce Neely is the 11th generation distiller in one of America's oldest distilling families. A visit to Neely Family Distillery takes you through family history, where you can see all the artifacts and newspaper clippings through the years from this family that started distilling in America after James Neely arrived from Northern Ireland in 1740. Today, Royce Neely and his team are crafting some of the best spirits in America. Their bourbon and absinthe offerings keep winning top honors in the spirits competitions. Recently, their absinthe made history as the first platinum winner in the absinthe category at the San Francisco Spirits Competition. Neely Family Distillery is definitely a bucket list destination if you are a bourbon fan. Learn more about their spirit offerings, visiting their facility, and the awards they have collected over at NeelyFamilyDistillery.com. And now, back to the show.
My name is Ryan Thompson. I'm a billionaire who buys stupid scotch, and you are listening to the Bourbon Daily. Welcome back to the Bourbon Daily. We are going to discuss an article that claims California is the bourbon capital of the world.
Yes. Yeah, so the title of the article is California Becomes a Powerhouse, a Bourbon Business. So that is the article. It's by Gloria Okery. She's the author. She is a digital content creator for KTVU in San Francisco, the Fox affiliate in San Francisco. And I believe how this goes down is she sees a list of states with the most distilleries. So she draws upon that and sees that California sits at the top. Kind of makes sense, California being a large state geographically, and certainly there's some affluence out there. So ability to open a distillery sounds good. And they certainly are trying to maybe make some laws that are conducive to opening a distillery there. And they're number one. They came in at 104, and they sit at the top now. So, but her take on it was that move over Kentucky. This is a line in here. This is an actual line out of the article. So here we go. Move over Kentucky. There's a new king in the bourbon business, a California king to be precise. And then she goes on to talk about that Texas is also up and coming and stuff like that. And then it talks about leading the change in California distilling, more distilleries coming aboard, is distillers are experimenting with local botanicals and fruit-based spirits. So that sounds along the lines of brandies and gins, right? So there's probably a shitload, because you can have a gin distillery in a small place, and makes sense. A ginnery is something that you can have in a strip mall, and so 104 distilleries doesn't mean 104 whiskey making distilleries, and I think that is a disservice the way it's written there. The fact that
what I think you need to settle on here is Sheep states in here that Kentucky is also home to the bourbon capital of the world. Let's just start with how many barrels of bourbon are aging in a state if we're going to talk king of bourbon. Right. King of bourbon. Let's start there. Not just whiskey. I'm talking bourbon.
Move over, Kentucky. California is now the king.
Is now the king when they have more than 2.7, somewhere it's above 2.5 now, barrels per citizen of the Commonwealth of Kentucky aging right now.
Right.
In that spot. So let's start there as my first point of contention.
Right. Yeah.
First point. Yeah.
First point. There's a lot going wrong here.
But we're going to start there.
Yeah. Well, it's obviously not based on quantity produced. It's just number of distilleries.
Right.
Because where's Indiana on the list if we're going to talk about quantity?
Right.
Right? They're making a lot of whiskey there.
Indiana's not even in the top 10 according to the number of distilleries.
Right.
Right. Right.
So distilleries in Illinois. I had no idea.
There could be an article where you write about, California has the most distilleries. That's a legitimate article. You can write about the number of distilleries. California has more, and you could even say in there, you think about distilleries, you automatically gravitate towards Kentucky and what's going on in bourbon. California is doing a lot of distilleries that are focusing on botanicals and fruit-based spirits, and they have a total number more distilleries. And if that's your take on it, that's a fine article, and you're correct. But to sit there and sound like California is now the bourbon capital of the world is wrong. It's not accurate journalism at all. So,
especially when you use facts about Kentucky in your article that support the fact that Kentucky is the bourbon capital of the world.
Right. I mean, yeah. So,
what does it say about number of distilleries in California? That tells me you got how many breweries, because we all know the brewers are quitters. They should also own a distillery. So if you have the amount of breweries that are struggling to sell beer, the amount of wineries that are struggling to sell wine, it makes perfect sense to open up a distillery license there too as well, to broaden out your product base and to use your overhead that you didn't make wine with or whatever for distilling spirits. But you are not distilling bourbon in every 104 distilleries.
Name your favorite brewery that is making whiskey that you think is good. I don't have an example of one. Now, there's been some examples of some breweries that have sourced some good whiskey, but you don't even have to be in the business to source good barrels. That has nothing to do with the brewery part of it. I haven't really found a brewery that makes good whiskey. And I'm talking about the ones that are actually making it themselves. And I'm open to the idea. I'm not saying they're not skilled people, and maybe they haven't been doing it long. I don't know, but I just haven't found a brewery that makes good whiskey. I haven't. So
I think the only answer has to be Coors right now. Because Coors does have that whiskey they've been making, and it has been awarded by
their Blue Run, yes. So their Five Trails, yes. They're making all that. So yeah. That's an interesting one to me too, because Coors is just fascinating to me because you have one member of the family, your son, who's broken out on his own and wants to make his way in the world of alcohol and is elected not to go in the family business of beer and has gone out on his own as an island. And he looks like he could use some help. It looks like he needs some assistance in being successful, and I just wish he'd reach out to me. I feel like I could help him. David Coors, if you're listening,
there's a couple people on this call that I think could help out.
Right,
various different ways. There's about
reach out
four
to
of
us.
us on this one.
We could help you with what you got going on there. I think he's been making some side steps because again he doesn't have the background and I feel like we could help him. That's just my take. Let's if you don't believe me, let's sit down, let's talk. And no charge to talk. Let's talk, and I'll tell you what I think we can do, and we can actually become a powerhouse. But I don't think there's some struggling going on there.
I'm
That's
still
my
waiting to see if that the new distillery of theirs broke ground yet.
Yeah, no, it hasn't. I can tell you for a fact it hasn't. Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah.
I will say, if you folks do look up this article, I love the caption of the picture.
I know, right?
Here. It's a whiskey shot with ice cubes resting on a wooden surface, is how the description of it.
Doesn't that sound like AI? Like AI.
See, that's what I was going to bring up. This whole thing feels like AI.
It might be.
It might be. Oh, Gloria may be AI.
Could be.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the report she's using states that Kentucky leads the nation as the state with the most distillery jobs with over 6,000 employees, while California has 970.
They're the king, though.
Yeah.
104 distilleries.
They're more efficient. They know how to do it better. Yeah.
Right? They're employing 900 people.
Yeah.
But with 84 distilleries, 6,000 people in the state of Kentucky pull their paycheck from.
Yeah, there are so many facts in there that support Kentucky is the king of bourbon, but we've gone on record as saying California is the king. So
maybe that's the issue with the AI.
It could be.
I feel bad for her.
It's just limited sources.
You should talk to an online retailer. The information for this report was sourced from an online retailer, which will remain nameless, and the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. Just sounds like some editor said, hey, by the way, this is just up here. Look how many distillers we have. We just beat Texas. Put an article together here. And what do distilleries make? Default is bourbon, is the thought, right? That's the hottest thing out there. So,
yeah.
Just another uneducated journalistic take on the whiskey industry.
Yeah. And and again, I get it. You have to write about everything. And so you get out of things of your knowledge base. I understand that. But, and how I find all these things is, of course, is I just Google bourbon and then I hit on news. What's out there? This was like the third ranked story involving bourbon when I looked at this. So it means a lot of people are looking at it. And the two things are happening. Number one, people like us get angry, get aggravated because it's misinformation. Number two, the people who don't really know and are looking for news and information are getting fed wrong information. And we certainly see there's plenty of people that don't know about bourbon. And then this is just throwing them off. This isn't helping them in any way. This is actually, imagine going in the office the next day and be like, hey, I know you love Kentucky, but guess what? California is bourbon center of the universe now. I saw it in an article. Okay, yeah, sure. So it's dumb to me.
The internet is the Wild West, and you got to know your sources.
Right. Yeah. So there you go. That's an article that I saw, and it stood out as something that we needed to talk about because we want to get the truth out there. So. Again, probably much of our audience is the same way as us, or just kind of throwing up their arms when they hear some of these things. But, I just want to point out it's still out there. And when you get newbies, this is why you got to be nice to them. You got to help them out because there's being bad information fed to them. So someone who's really, truly interested in it might be asking you some crazy questions and seem like why they're all over the place. They don't understand anything. Well, maybe they were trying to educate themselves and run into something like this. So there you go.
Hey, Steve, can I add one more point here real
quick?
This online retailer that was selected to be the source by this writer, I just pulled their website and shop by distillery. It is all Scotch except for, I will give them two. One, Pappy Van Winkle. Two, Suntory is on there. So I'm giving Suntory access to Beam. I'm going to give them a push. I'll give them partial credit on Suntory. Everything else is Japanese whiskey or Scotch.
Yeah. So
there's no bourbon on this website.
Didn't go to a credible source. So yeah. But that's part of the problem with journalism in America these days,
Yeah, they have. When I click on Shop by Spirit, you got a nice little bottle of 15-year-old Pappy Van Winkle from 2022 for a cool $32.62. That's $3,262. And then a 13-year-old Old Family Reserve Rye, that'll put you back $2,330.
Huh.
So that is the amount of bourbon that is on their website that they sell.
Wow. Yeah.
Sounds like they know what they're talking about then.
They do sell bourbon.
Experts in the field.
Yeah.
What we do is we pull up articles apart and look at that, and I thought that was important to note.
Yeah.
It's good.
Important to note.
Appreciate it. All right, well, we'll wrap this one up as we always do by talking about where people can find us. Von Nieters, we'll start with you. Where can people find you?
You can find me getting excited about California being the new Bourbon King on Instagram at Von Nieters.
Yeah, hitting that California trail, I'm sure. Coming soon if it's not already there. Tim, how about you?
Move over, Kentucky. Here's California has entered the building. You can find me talking about that on Instagram at SwyGuy2112 and on YouTube at our flagship whiskey.
All right, Kathy.
You can find me on Instagram at KK Cast Strength.
All right, for me, I'm an easy guy to find. I'm at Steve Akeley, Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. I've got a website, steveakeley.com. We've also got a company website. That thing's abvnetwork.com. Check that one out. Everything that we do is out there. Previous shows, blogs, so much more, abvnetwork.com. Come by and see me. The ABV Barrel Shop, that place where you can try before you buy. Check us out online, abvbarrelshop.com. Kathy, anything else to say before we get out of here?
Yeah, I'd just like to remind the audience to please give us a 5-star review that includes comments. It helps new people find the show, which is very important to us. They need to know about these articles, so spread the word.
Absolutely.
And if you like what we're doing, we ask you please visit the Patreon page at patreon.com/the ABV Network.
Great job today, gang. For our audience, we'll have a brand new show for you tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Until then, take care, everybody. See ya.
See ya.
Bye.
Peace. Before we let you go, let's talk about one last thing. The ABV Barrel Shop in the St. Louis community of Arnold, Missouri. The ABV Barrel Shop is focused on a couple of things. First of all, single barrels. We are the place where single barrels live. We go to distilleries, taste through the whiskey, select the best barrel, and have it shipped to our store where we present it to you, our customers, by allowing you to try before you buy. We're also known for the classes that we have in our education center in the store, as well as the events we have with industry professionals from the bourbon business. If you're in the St. Louis area, please come by and visit us at 6 Fox Valley Center in Arnold, Missouri. Or at a minimum, at least sign up for our email and text distribution so you know exactly what's going on in our shop over at abvbarrelshop.com. This is Steve Akeley, owner of the ABV Network, signing off. We thank you for listening to our programming and truly appreciate your support.
The Bourbon Daily is part of the ABV Network. For more information or to become a sponsor, please visit abvnetwork.com. Thanks for listening and cheers.
This has been a Steve Akeley production.